For my final project in Art 200, I chose Woman House. Woman House is a statement made by a generation of women about the importance of feminism. Woman House provided a platform for women to make a bold statement about the state of the world and feminist ideals. By using different performance pieces, sculptures, and installations, the artists behind Woman House were able to convey a message of what women were feeling and still are feeling to this day. Not only was the piece important to the observers, but it was important simultaneously to the artists involved. Woman House brought the problems women were facing to the forefront and allowed for feminist ideology to reach where it hadn't gone before. Woman House was the first project of the feminist art program at the California Institute of the Arts, headed by Miriam Shapiro and Judy Chicago, and included 25 mixed media installations and 6 performance pieces. It was open from January to February 1972. Its inception started with Judy Chicago and Miriam Shapiro. Miriam Shapiro was a pioneer in the feminist art movement and was a deeply established artist at the time. Judy Chicago is a leading feminist artist and founded the first feminist art program at Fresno State, which would be the precursor to the one at the Institute. Chicago and Shapiro's relationship began after Shapiro gave a lecture for Chicago's program at Fresno. Shortly thereafter, the idea of a program at Cal Arts, and soon Woman House began to form. After the formation of the program, Paula Harper, a colleague and teacher in the program, would suggest that the students collaborate on installations, which led to the idea of Woman House. The building that was used for Woman House was a large house found on 553 Mariposa Avenue in Hollywood. It was in extreme disrepair. Shapiro and Chicago would realize how large of a task this would be for themselves and their students. The massive undertaking that would be Woman House consisted of the students doing a lot of repair work, from carpentry to electrical work. The students had this work on top of formulating their installations. For the artists involved, it was very intense and stressful, not just because of the hard work, but because the emotions that were evoked during the project itself. After all the repairs were done, installations were worked on and finished. On January 30th, 1972, Woman House opened to the public. Roughly 10,000 people would visit Woman House. To go in depth into specific installations in Woman House, I think we should start with the initial building. The exterior was painted a stark white, with Woman House being stenciled onto the door. From there, observers would enter into the incredible house filled with installations. The interior consisted of many rooms, bathrooms, closets, all filled with installations, although the living room was left open for performances. One of the first rooms you might enter would be the nurturant kitchen, done by Hodgetts, Fraser, and Welsh, and is considered one of the more famous rooms. Painted entirely in pink, with all the features of a kitchen brought to the extreme, with sunny-side eggs shaped into breasts, it was a powerful piece about women feeling trapped in their homes. Another popular room would be the dining room, a stunning installation done by Shapiro, Wilding, and many other collaborators. Every aspect of the room was created by the artists, with the biggest and most important piece being a celebration and reproduction of a 19th century artist, Anna Claypool Peel's art. While more tame compared to the rest of the house, it was considered a celebration of female artists before them. One of the more interesting rooms was Faith Wilding's Womb Room, a sculpture made with yarn and rope. It was an extreme abstract take on the anatomical parts of the human body, and in Wilding's words, a contemporary take on shelters of our ancestors. Now, Chicago's more famous piece from the house was the menstruation bathroom, filled with 10,000 tampons and other hygiene products. It led to a lot of discomfort among observers, and elicited a lot of strange feelings from the observers. Demetrakis' documentary on Woman House actually captures a lot of the distress experienced by the observers. Now, none of these rooms were preserved in any manner, unfortunately, so you can't visit any of these installations. You can, although, experience it through the lens of Johanna Demetrakis' documentary, a 47-minute long film capturing the spirit of Woman House and its observers' reactions. Overall, it's an enjoyable documentary on one of the most prolific feminist art pieces. Overall, Woman House is an incredible work, filled with very unique forms of media, with a large focus on female-centric things. Compared to something like the Guerrilla Girls piece, Do women have to be naked to get into the Met? The Guerrilla Girls are a group of feminist artists that make feminist art using advertisement techniques to comment on the state of art and women's role in art. It's very similar to what the artists involved at Woman House were doing by making large statements about women's roles. Or compare it to Chicago's later work in one of the most famous feminist art pieces, The Dinner Party, a symbolic representation of women in history, with unique plates and settings representing famous women. Its similar and elaborate celebration of women is just like what was found in Woman House. At the end of the day, Woman House is a deconstruction of the feelings of women. It pushed the boundaries by showing exaggerations of what women were feeling about their roles in society. It gave exposure to just how society had trapped women in roles and allowed the participating artists to parody these roles. It was a learning experience for the 10,000 plus people and the artists involved. It had and still has a very large impact on what feminist art would and could be.